princess and is set to become the first woman to hold the title of Captain General of the Royal Marines. And she is very keen to take up the post stripped from Prince Harry after Megxit, according to reports. The Princess Royal is seen as a good fit for the position, which was passed down from Prince Philip to Harry upon his retirement from royal duties in December 2017. The Duke of Edinburgh had inherited the title in 1953 from the late King George VI, who died a year earlier. Senior military sources suggested and was nailed on as the next Captain General of the Royal Marines. A senior Royal Marines source told the Sunday Times, "Princess and has already done a lot with us over the years. She's really well connected to the Navy and, as a consequence, has a soft spot for the Royal Marines. We are very comfortable with her, especially given her outstanding sporting background. She is a good fit." A source close to the Princess Royal described her as being very keen to take on the role. The Queen's decision to have the title passed down to Harry from her husband was seen as a major honor for her grandson. Harry served in the armed forces for 10 years and carried out 2 tours in Afghanistan. Announcing his departure from the army in 2015, the prince said his time in the military would stay with me for the rest of my life. He had been the first royal in 25 years to serve in a war zone. But Harry and Meghan were stripped of all their honorary titles and royal patronages when they chose to up sticks and exit the firm for a new life abroad. The decision by the monarch to pull to take away Harry's military roles was seen as a particularly hard blow for the Duke. Last month, sources told the Daily Express that Harry had asked friends in the UK to post him military magazines in a sign he is missing his old life. As the prince sets down deep roots in his new home in California, he is reportedly catching up on news from the Soldier magazine, the official publication for the British Army, RAF News and Air Clues, Mod procurement publication Desiter, and even Sanctuary, which reports on the Mod's green agenda. A source explained, the Duke of Sussex made this request during his visit to Britain in April, when he attended his grandfather's funeral. Though is not a direct subscriber to these publications, he went out of his way to ask that they be sent on to his home in Los Angeles. While it is true that the list doesn't include either the Royal Navy or the Royal Marines publication, it is possible that he is sourcing these via other means. Last November, Harry's request to have a poppy wreath laid at the cenotaph on his behalf was refused by the palace. Every year, senior members of the royal family attend the monument to pay their respects to the fallen dead. In recent years, the Queen has opted to watch the ceremony from a balcony in Whitehall while Prince Charles has laid a wreath on her behalf. Last year, Harry and Meghan headed to a cemetery in Los Angeles to mark the somber occasion in their own way. The couple laid flowers on the graves of 2 Commonwealth soldiers, a man who had served in the Royal Australian Air Force and one from the Royal Canadian Artillery. A photographer was hired to capture the moment, and the Sussexes released the photos to the public. The move was seen as a sign of Harry's intention to retain links with the British and Commonwealth militaries, despite no longer holding any titles or patronages. Harry is expected to touch on his time in the military in his upcoming book, set to be released next year. He said he wants to tell his story, including the highs and lows, the mistakes, the lessons learned, in a bid to show that no matter where we come from, we have more in common than we think. The royal family has been warned by the CEO of Republic they could face significant problems. When Prince Charles succeeds the Queen as the Prince of Wales is not as popular with the British public. Graham Smith told Royal UK Story that a section of the British public do not want Prince Charles to succeed Queen Elizabeth II as the UK's head of state and instead want to be given a choice. However, the Republic CEO admitted that Prince Charles will take the throne after his mother regardless of his ranking in opinion polls. Mr. Smith said, "People do not particularly want Charles. I suspect the people that say Charles are the believers who think it ought to be Charles because he is the heir. And so their reaction is that, of course, it should be Charles. I think everybody else wants to have a choice." This is where British values and people's expectations and opinions about individuals collide with the monarchy. The monarchy does not adapt or change, and there is no way it can accommodate that wish for a choice. Regardless of the opinion polls, it will be Charles. He could come in with 1% of support in every opinion poll for the next 5 years, and it will still be him becoming head of state after the Queen. I think that is going to cause some significant problems. And that is why they want to keep Charles front and center, to try and win people around. Republic is an organization that campaigns for Queen Elizabeth II to be replaced with an elected, democratic head of state. A YouGov poll in March 2021 found Prince William was the most popular choice for the UK's next head of state. Despite being first in line to the throne, Prince Charles ranked behind David Attenborough and Boris Johnson in the poll, as well as receiving the same level of support as Stephen Fry. Royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams has previously criticised Republic's views on the monarchy. Mr. Fitzwilliams told Royal UK Story the royal family is Britain's greatest soft power asset. He said, "The taxpayer gets an extraordinary bargain from the Crown Estate, which brought in £345 million in 2019-2020. These are surrendered at the beginning of a reign, and in return the sovereign grant, 15% of their value, is now returned to the monarch. Over a decade an extra 10% is being spent on refurbishing Buckingham Palace, which had not been done for decades." Mr. Fitzwilliams added, "It benefits Britain financially in several other ways, through tourism. The benefits from royal trips abroad to British business and the interest from the international media is simply vast. Something Republic cannot ever explain. The monarchy is Britain's greatest soft power asset." The royal family made a deeply regrettable mistake with Meghan Markle soon after she became engaged to Prince Harry, one expert has claimed. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry announced their engagement in November 2017. But after the news went public, the royal family failed to introduce the future Duchess of Sussex to royal journalists in the same way they did with Kate, Duchess of Cambridge, when she became engaged to Prince William, 39, an expert has claimed. Writing in this week's Telegraph royal newsletter, expert and editor Camilla Tominey brands the firm's failure to treat Meghan the same as Kate deeply regrettable and argues it may have helped cement the anti-press stance Harry and Meghan hold to this day. Touching on the royals' tricky relationship with the media, Ms. Tominey mentioned a recent interview she did with Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall. Despite the bad press the Duchess of Cornwall has received in the past, she remains friendly towards journalists, Ms. Tominey explained. She wrote, "I've just written a piece on the Duchess of Cornwall, out this weekend, in which a former aide commented on how much she enjoyed speaking to us hacks." Ms. Tominey added, "This is despite the tabloids spending most of the 1990s and early 2000s vilifying her as the most hated woman in Britain and public enemy number one. She loves a gossip, she loves a good story, and she knows journalists are inherently interesting people," insisted the source. Camilla's treatment at the hands of the media dwarfs what Harry and Meghan went through, Ms. Tominey argues. She added, "What Camilla was put through makes Prince Harry and Meghan's treatment by the newspapers look like a walk in the park. And yet the Sussexes remain the most anti-press of all. Meghan and Harry's anti-press stance may have been prevented if Meghan had been introduced to royal journalists from the start like Kate was," Ms. Tominey suggested. She added, "I have always thought it deeply regrettable that the palace never properly introduced Meghan to the royal press pack, as they did when then Kate Middleton became engaged to Prince William. It is only really when the royal family and journalists meet face to face that both sides come to realize that there is probably more that unites them than divides them." Meghan and Harry's struggle in the limelight was one of the reasons they gave for quitting as senior royals. However, since their departure from the firm, the couple have maintained a strong public profile. Their bombshell interview with Oprah Winfrey in March shook the royal household to its core, as the couple spoke out about their time as working royals and made several damning allegations against the monarchy. In recent weeks, news Harry is to pen a tell-all memoir that is due to be published next year will have also ruffled feathers among palace aides. In a statement about his upcoming book, Harry said, "I'm writing this not as the prince I was born but as the man I have become. I've worn many hats over the years, both literally and figuratively, and my hope is that in telling my story, the highs and lows, the mistakes, the lessons learned, I can help show that no matter where we come from, we have more in common than we think. I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to share what I've learned over the course of my life so far, and excited for people to read a first-hand account of my life that's accurate and wholly truthful." The Sussexes have been based in California since last year, but were expected to return to the UK to attend the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations next spring. There is now speculation they may be uninvited from the event amid fears royal family dramas might dwarf the Queen's milestone. Britain's most feared biographer is racing to complete his bombshell book on the Duchess of Sussex, vowing that it will tell the truth about her life. Investigative journalist Tom Bower has reportedly signed a six-figure advance to pen an unauthorized account, and the 74-year-old writer has confirmed his hard-hitting book is well underway. having researched his subject for a year and speaking to friends, foes and associates of Meghan and Prince Harry. He said, "I'm writing it now. It will tell the truth when it comes out next year." 2 years ago we were the first newspaper to report that the biographer was planning a book on the Duchess. Meanwhile, last week it was reported Harry and his American-born wife plan to write 4 books. As part of a lucrative £29 million deal with US publishers Penguin Random House. A move Mr. Bauer described as certain to damage the royal family. Harry has come under fire for collaborating with celebrity ghostwriter J.R. Moringer on what his publishers have described as the definitive account of the experiences, adventures, losses and life lessons that have helped shape him. Mr. Bauer claimed, "The only way that Harry can earn money and justify the advance. And the only thing that the American publishers will be happy with, is if he is very critical of the royal family. It will be damaging for them, and that is a tragedy." The deal means that Harry's memoir will be released in late 2022, when it is the Queen's Platinum Jubilee year. The book is described by Harry as being a wholly truthful first-hand account of his life. But royal aides are worried that it will prove to be a highly biased account of the 36-year-old prince's experiences, and only serve to further heighten tensions with his estranged relatives. Meghan is also set to pen a wellness guide as part of the Random House contract. In another development, it was revealed that an updated version of Finding Freedom by Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand will be released on the anniversary of Princess Diana's death, August 31st. The book, which gives a behind-the-scenes account of Meghan and Harry's life, will now feature a section detailing their heartbreak following the death of Prince Philip in April. The new section will also recount Meghan's emotional healing journey from losing a child to the birth of their daughter, and will detail the couple's relocation to California, according to publisher HarperCollins. The couple have long denied personally cooperating with Scobie and Durand, but the writers have boasted of having unique access and the participation of those closest to the couple. The flurry of publications over the next year is sure to captivate readers on both sides of the Atlantic. In particular, Harry's memoir is tipped to be a bestseller, with one of his mother's confidants saying that it will fulfill Diana's legacy. Diana's private voice and presence coach, Stuart Pearce, said that absolutely and unquestionably Diana had been ready to write her own memoir before she died. She confided to Mr. Pearce that she was receiving offers left, right and center. Mr. Pearce asserts that the Duke of Sussex inherited his mother's bravery and is ready to face the consequences of telling his own story. It will be damaging for royal family.